Welcome to the Future Strong podcast. Today, we're unlocking a really powerful blueprint for success. And it's not just for product management, really, but I think for any complex creative job. We're going to explore an actual letter from Brian Armstrong, the founder and CEO of Coinbase. He wrote it directly to a new product manager joining his company. A pretty cool resource. And this isn't just about the nuts and bolts of product work. It's more like a masterclass in, well, how vision meets execution, how you navigate ambiguity, and how you truly lead. So our mission here is to pull out the most crucial bits of knowledge, maybe some surprising insights from Armstrong's letter, basically give you a shortcut to understanding what it really takes to excel. Okay, let's unpack this. Armstrong starts right off the bat telling this new PM that their role is an art, something that looks simple maybe, but takes years, he says even decades, to truly master. He even compares it to people management, which, yeah, that's notoriously tricky. What's your first reaction to that framing?
Well, it's fascinating, isn't it, how he positions it as an art, not just a set of tasks. It suggests it's not about, just following a checklist. It's more about developing a feel for it, an intuition that only comes from, deep immersion, practice, constant refinement, like a craftsperson. It implies this deeper commitment beyond just getting things done.
Yeah.
It's about really understanding.
Right. And after calling it an art, he brings it right back down to earth. He says the only way to learn it is to actually do it. But then he gives this advice that kind of seems contradictory. He says, talk with 2 or 3 other PMs, be a knowledge sponge. This is the really interesting part. Copy others before you try to find your own voice. That feels a bit weird for innovators, doesn't it? Copying.
Yeah. It does, yeah, first blush. And it raises that classic question, right? How do you balance learning by doing with learning from others? Armstrong gives a pretty smart answer, I think. Hands-on is non-negotiable, sure. But he really stresses learning from mentors, from your peers. And that idea of copying first, it's actually really insightful for complex fields. You build a solid foundation, you master the fundamentals, you see what works before you try to break the mold. Think of it like a musician learning scales before composing. You got to know the rules to break them effectively. It's like an apprenticeship model, really.
Okay, that makes sense. So with that foundation set, he then lays out the main parts of the job. And number 1, right at the top, understand the customer deeply. He specifically mentions user studies, talking to users every single week, really hearing their pain points, getting inside their heads.
Yeah, and this is absolutely core. If you connect it to the bigger picture, everything else relies on this.
Yeah.
Without truly getting the customer, you're just guessing, right?
Yeah.
And the instruction to talk to users every week, that highlights how continuous this needs to be. It's not a one-time research project. It's this ongoing commitment to empathy, to listening. That's where the real gold is, the insights you wouldn't get otherwise.
Okay, so building on that deep customer understanding, the second key thing is being metrics-driven. He advises using time series data, so data over time, to see how people are actually using the product, and crucially, to see if your changes are, actually improving things. Then he hits them with this warning. If you haven't instrumented the app and chosen a metric you want to improve, you are just guessing. That's pretty strong language.
It is. Very strong. And this is where the art meets the science. Metrics give you that objective feedback. Are your ideas working or not? And just guessing. That's a powerful pushback against relying purely on intuition. He's pushing for accountability, for data-informed decisions. And it's not just any data. It's about choosing a specific metric you want to move. That guides everything. You need to know what you're measuring and why.
Right. Clarity of intent. So moving from data, the PM is then responsible for prioritizing the product roadmap and communicating it to the team. But he's very clear. This isn't about being a, quote, top-down dictator. Instead, be a consensus builder who can, importantly, break a tie when needed. That sounds like a tricky balance.
Oh, it's a classic tightrope walk, absolutely. The PM owns the roadmap, yes. But their real influence comes from building that genuine consensus, getting engineering, design, marketing, everyone aligned. So it's about collaboration, negotiation, rallying the team. But that break a tie part is key. Ultimately, someone has to make the call. So you lead through influence, mostly, but you still hold the final accountability for the direction. You can't just let things drift.
And that leads naturally into the fourth part, being a communication hub, which means, okay, building consensus internally, sure, but also communicating changes externally to customers. He says users need to see the product improving because you are telling them about it. And internally, everyone needs to be on the same page. You are the point of contact for all things related to this product.
Exactly. It paints the PM as this sort of central nervous system for the product. Communication, flowing both ways inward and outward, keeps everything aligned, manages expectations, builds trust. You're the constant, clear voice connecting engineering, marketing, support, and the user. It's relentless, he implies, like a 24/7 responsibility almost, making sure information flows smoothly.
Okay, so once you've got those core areas down, customer obsession, metrics, prioritization, communication, then Armstrong says you need to develop product vision. This means having real conviction about where things are going in the future and making hard calls about what to eliminate. Ouch. The ultimate goal, he says, isn't just fixing pain points, it's creating customer delight. And sometimes, rarely, creating something that people actually love. He uses that great analogy.
Yeah, the Tide detergent versus Harley-Davidson one.
Yeah.
Nobody loves their detergent,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
It just works.
Great.
But people love their Harley. And this whole section really elevates the role, doesn't it? From executor to visionary. It's about foresight, strategic thinking, and the courage to say no to things, to prune features that don't serve the long-term vision. And that distinction between fixing pain and creating delight, that's profound. Pain relief is table stakes. Delight is what builds passionate loyalty, that emotional connection. That's the aspiration.
It really sets a high bar. And then finally, he gets practical again. He lists specific tasks. Running product reviews, maintaining the roadmap, sprint planning. So all these big ideas have to connect to the day-to-day grind.
Exactly right. These are the tangible ways those principles actually happen. They're the rhythms, the mechanics. They keep the development engine running. They ensure the strategy translates into action. It's the doing that makes the art possible, where the rubber meets the road, turning vision into actual product changes.
So wrapping it all up, Armstrong ends his letter with this message of confidence. He acknowledges it's a big challenge, there'll be a few bumps, but he expects this new PM to be well on your way to having a happy, healthy, productive team that is delighting its customers pretty quickly by the end of the next quarter.
Yeah, it's a great closing. Sets clear expectations, but also inspires confidence. The whole letter really frames it as a journey of continuous learning, built on, empathy, data, clear communication, and that unwavering commitment to the vision. And these aren't just tips for PMs at Coinbase, are they? They feel like fundamental principles for anyone trying to build something meaningful, whether it's a product, a team, a project. It's about leadership through real engagement.
Absolutely. So thinking about this for you listening, whether you're building something, leading a team, maybe just tackling a complex problem, how can you apply these ideas? What really stands out to you from Armstrong's letter? Maybe that idea of creating customer delight in your own world, or perhaps that balance between the art and the science. Lots to chew on there. Well, thank you for joining us for this exploration on the Future Strong podcast. Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep building.